Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's time for day 8 of Countdown to the Spectrum. This is Skool Daze, released in 1984 by Microsphere for the original price of £5.95. Also released on Commodore 64. That's the only platform actually, I'm quite surprised about that. So we're on day 8 now, which means we are just 2 weeks away from the release of the Spectrum. My god, it's going fast now. Cannot wait. Anyway, what can we say about Skool Daze? Well, let's start with some of the awards it picked up. I don't know this first one. Big K Pick of the Month at Big K issue number 10 from 1985. I don't know what Big K was, not got a clue to be honest with you. That's clearly a magazine that passed me by. And it also got Crash Smash issue 11 December 1984, which is the one we are going to be taking a look at. Little note on this website here says this game was a commercial success when first released, selling 50,000 copies despite very little marketing or promotion. It's recognised as a pioneer of the sandbox game format later used by little computer people and The Sims. Yep, I would agree with that. Skool Daze was one of those games I think that resonated with me a lot. More than likely, I suppose, because I was a school kid when it came out. You know, I think you could definitely get that affinity with the game. I mean, I was never a kid like Eric when I was at school, to be fair. I was never the naughty child. I was probably more like the SWAT in the game than I was Eric, you know. I really was a bit of a goody two-shoes at school, I guess. I was kind of brought up, my mum was not strict in any way, really, but she brought us up with values, I suppose. She was always like one of those people that would say, you know, you really need to put the effort in at school and get good grades. I think that's what parents have to say to their kids, don't they, really? It's like, I'm not actually a parent myself. Unfortunately, it's just never worked out for me, but I imagine that's the sort of parent I would be. It's like you tell your kids to do their very best at school. Me personally, I've been lucky when I've got jobs that I've never really used my qualifications, you know, and I think I knuckled down at school because that's kind of what I was told to do, you know, or I was advised to do, and I was always a bit like, you know, I don't want to mess up because you get one chance at being at school and getting good grades, you know, and that's the way I figured it. And yeah, that probably made me a bit of a goody two-shoes. I like to have fun still, don't get me wrong, but I definitely was no Eric. And this little kid that you control in this game, it probably gave me a chance to bring out my naughty school kid side when I was a school kid, you know, because I was kind of acting out that fantasy of like what I would do if I was the bad kid in school, the one that just didn't care and would go around like shooting his catapult at kids and knocking teachers over and writing things on blackboards and stuff. And yeah, I think that gave you that sort of alter ego, I guess, where you could play as Eric and get away with it, you know, because it was just a video game. This is another one of those games I've never actually completed. I think games like this were like, I know there was stuff to do that was not apparently obvious, and because you've got to remember, back in these days we never had guides for anything unless they printed them in magazines, so you had to get lucky, really. It's not like you could like go onto Google like you can nowadays and get a walkthrough or whatever. You know, we could never get those guides unless like somebody specifically printed it in one of the magazines that we bought. You know, you just didn't get them. Sometimes they would make little guidebooks and stuff like that with the magazines, but more often than not, you know, we just didn't really know if it was a complicated game. You'd have to work it out for yourself. Okay, there was word of mouth, of course, like kids and stuff. You used to have these phone tip lines as well if you had rich parents, or you could like just get away with not telling them, and you know, you could ring up the phone lines. And I think I did that once or twice with a few games, but generally speaking, you know, they were like the 0800 numbers, and not 0800 numbers, because that would be free, wouldn't it? But you know, they were the sort of numbers that you get charged for quite a lot of money. So yeah, games like Skool Daze were quite hard to finish, for me anyway, because some of it could be a little bit complex, but there was a basic element to it too, really. You know, you go to your lessons. That's what I liked about it, the fact that you could play it straight as well, pretty much. You know, you had to go to your lessons and be the good school kid and all the rest of it, try and avoid getting lines, because that was kind of like your life force, really. Yeah, it was so much fun to play. I really love Skool Daze, particularly Back to School, which is obviously the sequel. So we're going to take a look at the Crash review. As ever, I'll always try and find the Crash review if I can. It was my magazine of choice back in the day, so that's why I generally tend to go with Crash. Like I said earlier, it is the December 1984 edition. Very colourful. I like the yellow against the black. It always pops quite nicely, like we had that with the Great Escape review, so I think this looks really cool. We've got a few screenshots here, including one where Eric is in mid-air getting 100 lines. I don't know who's getting 100 lines for jumping there or what, but he is getting them. And let's start at the beginning of the review. Skool Daze is the best days of your life, and if the gratuitous violence possible in this extraordinary new game is anything to go by, it probably is best to go through them all in a daze. The nefarious hero, or is he an anti-hero, of this piece is called Eric. Although the program allows you to input a new name if you prefer to personalise your software, and you can change the names of the other actors in this play. Play and actors are apt words in this game, for it carries its own life regardless of what you are doing. In fact, the demo alone is like watching Grange Hill on the telly. I forgot to say that with the game itself. That was another thing that was really great, is the fact that you could personalise this too. So you could change like all the names of the people in it, which would be great if you wanted to like play as your mates and stuff. Or like sometimes in those days, if it wasn't a multiplayer game, people would still come around your house and just watch you play the game. So it'd be quite fun to put all your mates' names in and stuff. Yeah, it's just some of the things we used to do. The simple object of Skool Daze is to get the end of term report out of the headmaster's safe, so suppressing the appalling information contained in it. However, achieving this aim is not so simple. In essence, to get the safe combination code, you must set all the school shields hanging on the wall flashing. You do this by hitting them with your catapult. Once they're all flashing, you must extract the code letters from the teachers, each one of which has been entrusted with one letter. This is done by knocking them over, all except the history master, who, because of his advanced age, has had his code letter implanted in his brain by hypnosis. This is what I mean, see, it's not the easiest game. If you didn't know this was what you really had to do, you've got to work that out. That's quite hard to work out, isn't it, really? The methods used to be set shields flashing, knock over teachers and extract information are very varied and typically school-like, but even with the codes, all is not over, because Eric must try out all the combinations on the blackboard, and even with the safe access safely, Eric must then cover his tracks by stopping all the shields from flashing by the same method he used to start them. This may all sound involved and fun, and it is, but the bare bones of the plot don't even begin to explain how hard the task is made by the ants' nest building of a school. It swarms with kids and teachers, the former milling innocently around, bopping each other in the eyes, scrawling rude messages on the blackboard, tripping up masters and generally causing havoc to Eric's endeavours. The latter handing out lines, ringing bells to change classes, asking daft educational questions, and generally being just like school teachers. Quite honestly, the Department of Education should have this game suppressed before it really causes trouble. Before we start reading the criticisms, I'll just finish off the review here with the comments at the end. Keyboard play very responsive, use of colour very good, graphics excellent, it seems an inadequate word, sound very good, good tune, skill levels 1, lives 1, screens scrolling school building, yeah, that makes sense, special features, masked character graphics, general rating, excellent value, plenty to do, addictive, unusual. Yeah, I guess that would describe the game. And here's its marks: use of computer 92%, graphics 93%, playability 95%, getting started 92%, addictive quality is 94%, value for money 94%, overall 93%. Good set of marks, fairly consistent there actually. Usually they're a bit up and down, but not with this one. And here we have the criticisms. This incredible 3D school time game has many features associated with school, such as Whacker, the teacher that is out to get you with his cane. The object of the game is quite easy, although achieving the objective is very difficult and seems to add very well to the playability of the game. Among the many things I like, two things that stand out are the catapult action, where your missile, if fired at the back of someone's head, promptly knocks that person down with the victim scratching his head, and the fact there is no character disruption when the figures pass in front of the background. Colour, sound and the general idea are all exceptionally good. I think this will provide many hours of joyful school days. Skool Daze is a fun game to play. The graphics are excellent and the sound is good. You are set an enormous task which I have only just started. Most of the shields are much too high to reach, and all the teachers are lion happy whenever you do anything and there is a teacher near you. The teacher will shout remarks at you. I really enjoy playing this game and recommend it to everyone with a sense of mischief. From the moment you see Skool Daze, you'll fall in love with it. The graphics are tremendous. The whole playing area is alive with action. The cast of characters is presented in a long menu which introduces each recognisable graphic, tells you who they are and their names, and allows you to change them if you want. The game has the feeling of an animated comic strip, with the teachers and pupils' comments all appearing in balloons. Playing the game requires a lot of attention to keep up with everything going on, and even if you don't feel up to a day at school, you can always sit back and watch it happen around you on the excellent demo. Microsphere seem to have a knack of finding unusual themes for games, and this is no exception. They also find the great graphics to go with it. I can't imagine anyone being disappointed with Skool Daze. So there you have it. That is the review. I think you will agree, if you've played this game before, it was a classic. It is one of those games that you can sort of like play incredibly seriously, go all out to do the tasks and everything else, or you can just literally have fun, you know, just go to classes, shoot catapults at people, knock them over, you know, just be mischievous. You don't necessarily have to play this game properly. I mean, I think eventually you will want to, because obviously he really plays the game a lot of the time without doing the objectives. But I think at the age I played this, I probably played this first when I was about 11 or 12, I suppose. I'm pretty sure I got it you know, when I was about that age, and just enjoyed just milling around. Like I said, changing the names to, you know, your schoolmates and everything was a lot of fun. It did make it personal. It did sort of endear it even more to you, I guess, and it was a fun game. Let me know also in the comments, as I always say on every one of these games, but I'm going to say it again, if you've ever completed this game. I don't think I did, but then I seem to remember the scene where you get to the safe, so maybe I did get as far as getting the safe unlocked. Pretty sure I never finished it though, to be fair, but let me know if you did in the comments, and let me know your thoughts on this game in general, like whether you used to change the names to all your mates and everything. I'm guessing probably most of us did. You know, I mean, I even used to do that when I was playing football games. Sometimes I changed the names of the players to my schoolmates, you know, for the school football team and stuff. So I think we used to do that a lot where we got the chance to, didn't we, as kids? But yeah, let me know. I'm certainly looking forward to playing this game. I reckon if there's any game on the Spectrum that's going to make you feel like a kid again, it's going to be playing Skool Daze. Not only, you know, because it's set in school, but like it was a substitute for the sort of kid that I wasn't, you know what I mean? Like I said, I was able to be the naughty school kid, so it's going to remind me even more of being a kid, I think, when I play this game. So I'm really looking forward to that kind of memory, that kind of stuff coming flooding back. I have played Skool Daze actually since I was a kid. I did play it on emulator, and I really did enjoy myself, so, but it hasn't been for a few years. This is one of those games that I think is going to benefit from the multi-saves for sure. It'll probably benefit from rewind as well if you're going to use that. I keep saying that because I know there are some people that are refusing to acknowledge that this rewind exists because they just think it goes against the spirit of gaming, and I totally get that. But it's very tempting though, if you've been playing this game for weeks on multiple saves, getting it all the way you want it, and then all of a sudden you fail, and that it might be tempting to use rewind on a game like this. I don't know, but maybe you're the sort of person that's finished this multiple times, you won't need that. But me personally, I probably might do. You know, we'll see. Again, this is another game I think might be excellent for a playthrough on the channel. Let me know your thoughts on that as well. I would play any of these games for the channel if people want me to do a let's play on any of them, so let me know in the comments. Okay guys, thank you so much as ever for watching. Day 8 is done. We're almost into double figures, and we are, as I said earlier in this video, officially now just 2 weeks away from the release. I think we're all getting excited. I know I flipping am for sure, so I'm sure you guys are too. Thanks everyone, take care. I'll see you tomorrow for another game. Bye for now.